What exactly takes place in our consciousness when we close our eyes and experience the sensation of falling asleep? Even if our bodies are resting, our minds appear to be going in an entirely different direction. It travels to locations that most of the time appear to be more real than the one we live in. It is commonly believed that sleep is nothing more than a period of relaxation. But if this is the case, then why does our mind generate realities that are so vivid during this time, including events, conversations, and even feelings itself? Is there something more going on than something as simple as the body getting some rest? The most basic explanation of sleep would be that it is a condition of recuperation for both the body and the mind. However, this explanation just scratches the surface of what is actually taking place with our consciousness while we are in this state. Consequently, while our bodies appear to be resting, what really is going on in our minds instead? Have we merely entered a mode that conserves power? Or does there exist a more profound factor at play? That consciousness appears to do something other than simply shut down during this transition between waking and sleep is a phenomenon that is observed. It is possible that it is not completely shutting down, but rather shifting to another sort of perception. What takes place in the time period between waking and sleeping may hold the key to a more profound comprehension of the relationship between our consciousness and the world around us. This idea of sleep as nothing more than a rest for the body and mind has been around for a long time, but it ignores something essential about the way the brain works. At night, when we close our eyes, we are not simply turning off our minds that we are doing so. On the other hand, however, the brain continues to be extremely busy, albeit in a different fashion, particularly during the rapid eye movement, REM stage of sleep. Regions of the brain that are associated with emotions and vision show a high level of activity. In contrast to this, there is a drop in activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the region of the brain that is responsible for logic and decision-making. At the same time that the body is shutting down, the brain appears to enter a state of high internal activity. There is no randomness or superficiality to the vivid visuals that appear in our dreams, nor is there any superficiality to the way that we feel emotionally linked to these experiences. These brain regions are responsible for their generation, and as they become more active, they lead us to regions of our consciousness that we were previously unaware of. There is a significant increase in the amount of activity that occurs within the brain, with various regions of the brain carrying out essential processes that are not visible when we are awake. It is because of this tremendous activity, particularly during rapid eye movement, REM sleep, that issues are raised regarding the genuine nature of rest and what happens to our consciousness when we are not aware of ourselves. Certain essential functions, such as the consolidation of memories and the elimination of poisons that have collected throughout the day, are carried out by the brain while it is sleeping. While the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logic and decision-making, has a drop in activity, other parts of the brain, such as those related with emotions and vision, see an increase in activity. Having this behavior is essential for the production of dreams, which can be seen as a reflection of how the brain processes information, feelings, and events that have been lived. When it comes to our consciousness, however, what does this imply? The fact that the brain does not completely shut down during sleep is suggestive of the concept that our perspective of the outside world modifies while we are asleep, but it does not completely disappear. Our minds journey to inner dimensions where they investigate symbols and events that are profoundly tied to our subconscious. This occurs rather than our minds being involved in the activities of daily life. It is as if while we are sleeping, we enter a level of perception that is extended, and the brain continues to strive to integrate and organize many components of our inner reality. The brain appears to be rearranging, reorganizing, and even inventing new realities while we are asleep, all on a level that our conscious mind is unable to comprehend while we are awake. This makes it appear as though the brain is not simply resting. Therefore, sleep is not merely a condition of detachment. Rather, it is a moment of intensive and transforming activity in which awareness goes through a process of regeneration and possibly even expansion, reaching deeper levels than we are able to experience when we are awake. However, why does the brain continue to engage in this activity when in theory it ought to be resting? There is a molecule known as DMT, which stands for dimethyltryptamine, that is responsible for the development of one of the most intriguing riddles of awareness while one is sleeping. Furthermore, this chemical, which is known to induce hallucinations when consumed in large quantities, is also naturally created by the brain primarily during sleep and more specifically during rapid eye movement REM sleep. There are a lot of people who are unaware of the fact that DMT is not only associated with psychedelic states, but it also appears to play a significant role in the formation of the experiences that we have while we are sleeping. It is possible that the release of DMT can serve as an explanation for the vivid, intense, and frequently strange sensations that we experience in our dreams. The effects of DMT might present themselves in a variety of ways, including visions of other planets, encounters with creatures or landscapes that are impossible to imagine. To put it another way, the things that we experience in our dreams might not amount to nothing more than a simple vision. Powered by this naturally occurring molecule that is created by our brain, it has the potential to be a gateway to an alternate reality. A fundamental contemplation is prompted as a result of this. If DMT is capable of producing such intense experiences, then to what extent are our dreams nothing more than hallucinations? Or are they merely a perception of another state of consciousness? Precognitive dreams, which are dreams in which a person thinks of a future event that later becomes a reality, are one of the most fascinating and challenging phenomenon regarding the nature of consciousness when a person is sleeping, but also one of the most fascinating. There have been numerous accounts of individuals having dreams that are so vivid and precise that when the event that was dreamed about actually takes place, it does not appear to be a simple coincidence, but rather an anticipation of something that has not yet taken place. Abraham Lincoln, who was assassinated, had a dream in which he saw himself being killed. This dream is considered to be one of the most famous examples of precognitive dreams due to its historical significance. Due to the fact that the dream was accurate, the details were accurate, and the tragedy that followed it appears that while he was sleeping, his consciousness accessed something that was outside the current reality, something that was outside the order of time that we are familiar with. And this kind of experience is not unprecedented. In what ways does this suggest that consciousness exists? It is possible that our minds are not limited to the linear time that we experience in the physical world while we are having a relaxing sleep. Perhaps on a more fundamental level, our mind is able to access information that is not bound by chronological order. Sleep paralysis is a frightening and frequently horrifying condition that occurs when a person wakes up while they are sleeping, but is unable to move or talk. This is an additional fascinating phenomenon that pertains to the manner in which consciousness is experienced during sleep. The sensation of being awake, yet still being confined within the body, is a profoundly uncomfortable experience. It is frequently accompanied with a feeling of a menacing presence, as if someone is present in the room or even on top of the individual. One of the reasons that many people believe they are being watched by an unknown entity or force is because they have the sensation that they are not alone when they are experiencing sleep paralysis. According to the conventional scientific explanation, sleep paralysis is a straightforward neurological condition in which the brain wakes up before the body, but it still keeps the muscle paralysis that normally takes place during rapid eye movement REM sleep. This is done to prevent our bodies from physically acting out our dreams. What is noticed in a large number of individuals who are affected by this phenomena, on the other hand, goes beyond such a straightforward explanation. Most people who have sleep paralysis describe feeling as though they are in a liminal state, which is a transitional phase where dreams and reality come together. As a result of the existence of figures or shadows and the sensation of being watched by something that is not visible, a sense of disconnection from the material world is created, which leads to the formulation of a hypothesis. If sleep paralysis is not simply a malfunction of the brain, but rather a moment of conscious transition, then what would that mean? It is possible that during these moments, consciousness is experiencing a temporary departure from the body, transitioning into a different level of perception, or possibly accessing a parallel reality. There are others who believe that sleep paralysis is associated with astral projection, or an expanded state of consciousness in which the distinction between the physical body and consciousness is not as distinct as it once was. To what extent, however, do those times seem to bring us closer to another dimension? Assuming that these unpleasant experiences are more than basic physiological failures, Is it possible that they represent rather a peak of an expanded perception that we are unable to completely appreciate while we are awake? Both lucid dreaming and astral travel are issues that receive a lot of attention. People who have reported having these experiences frequently use the phrase, a sense of freedom and expansion of consciousness that transcends the limitations of the physical body to describe their encounters. Astral travel is characterized by the experience of detachment from the physical body, which enables the awareness to explore other worlds or dimensions. This is frequently accompanied with the perception of being in faraway locations or even in non-physical planes of existence. Despite the fact that the scientific community has shown skepticism regarding this practice, reports from individuals from a variety of cultures imply that awareness appears to operate in ways that are beyond what our rational minds are able to comprehend. On the other hand, lucid dreams are events that occur when the dreamer becomes conscious of the fact that they are dreaming while they are still completely submerged in the dream. When a person is in this state, they are able to exercise influence over the environment of their dreams, changing the scenarios or engaging with the elements of their dreams deliberately. This event provides evidence that the human mind is capable of reaching a higher level of awareness, one in which we are not only perceiving our reality, but rather actively creating and altering it. The fact that we are able to be conscious and act within a dream may drive us to question the boundaries of consciousness. If we are able to be conscious and act within a dream, doesn't that imply that consciousness is not limited to our physical body? We are able to reach different universes or deeper layers of our own minds through these experiences, which can be seen as portals. The traditional concept of awareness that we have is called into question by them, and they prompt us to contemplate the nature of who we are. Whenever we are awake, time appears to be a constant that does not change with the passage of time. However, when we are dreaming, our perspective of time transforms in ways that are not quite comprehensible. Many people have reported having the sensation of waking up from a dream, feeling as though it lasted for hours, but in actuality, it has only been a few minutes since they woke up before the dream ended. With regard to the nature of our awareness and the way in which it interacts with time when we are sleeping, this occurrence hints at something more profound. When one is dreaming, time appears to either stretch or contract depending on the magnitude of the experiences that are being experienced. A single instant in a dream can feel like it lasts a lifetime, while a series of actions that would ordinarily take hours to complete can happen in a fraction of a second without ever being noticed. The contradictory phenomenon that we experience in the waking state raises problems regarding the linearity of time that we perceive through our senses. In many cases, the sensations and feelings that a person experiences in a dream remain with them for days after the dream has finished, as if the effect of that particular moment had reached beyond the concept of length. Because of this, our understanding of how time actually operates is called into question, because it is possible that time is a fluid and flexible construct that is sensitive to the state of awareness in which we now find ourselves. The fact that our awareness shifts into a kind of perception that surpasses the boundaries that we ordinarily connect with time when we enter sleep is suggested by the fact that there is a dissociation between the time that we experience in our bodies and the time that we experience in our dreams. During the time that we are asleep, it is as if our minds are no longer connected to the chronological order that we are aware of when we are awake. Because of this potential, we are compelled to contemplate the nature of time, namely whether it is purely a construction of our experience or something that consciousness has the ability to mold in any way it sees fit, particularly when it is liberated from the constraints of the physical body. At this point, we start to suspect that the fundamental nature of the reality in which these events take place is being called into question. In the event that time does not function in the same manner, when we are dreaming, it is possible that we are truly gaining access to something that goes beyond our conventional concept of space and time. This is where the multiverse idea comes into play, which proposes that dreams could in fact represent gateways to other worlds, such as other and parallel versions of our own life, not just in the realm of physics, but also in the realm of collective imagination. The idea of the multiverse, which is the premise that several realities or parallel versions of our universe exist, has gained traction in recent years. The traditional conception of a single universe is challenged by this theory, which claims that time and space are infinitely branching. This suggests that there are potential for other realities in which different decisions and events occur simultaneously. When we discuss the concept of parallel realities in relation to consciousness, we are addressing the notion that our view of the universe is not restricted to a single dimension or span of time. Instead, there is an unlimited network of possibilities and alternate versions of ourselves, where our decisions, ideas, and energy construct different situations that coexist simultaneously but outside of our typical perception. This network is a part of the universe. From a spiritual point of view, this link with other realities is not just about extending the mind. Rather, it is also a way of reestablishing a connection with the universe and with a more profound reality that goes beyond the ego of the person. When consciousness comes into contact with these other parallel versions, it moves closer to the fullness of existence and becomes aware of the fact that everything is interrelated in a huge cosmic network. It is possible that the experiences that we have in our dreams are more than just a simple projection of our unconscious mind, according to this school of thought. It's possible that they are a means by which our essence might connect with other layers of reality and gain an understanding of the boundless possibilities that exist. The fact that this is the case leads us to conclude that the reality that we experience may be merely one of the many layers that our mind is able to investigate. Furthermore, as we broaden our perspective by investigating the connection between dreams and parallel dimensions, we start to become aware of the vastness of our being as well as the world in which we are situated. The fascinating thing is that as scientific research continues to investigate the limits of the universe, and quantum physics parallels are beginning to emerge between the worlds that we encounter in our dreams and the parallel realities that are being explored. Within the realm of our dreams, we frequently find ourselves transported to events, locations, and even situations that are not only vivid, but also strangely familiar, as if we have experienced them in the past. This feeling of déjà vu in a dream prompts many people to wonder how such a realistic and detailed scenario can be derived from the activity of the brain alone. There is a resonance with ancient spiritual traditions that assert that our dreams connect us to other realms of existence. The idea that dreams may be gates to these alternative worlds not only opens up new ideas on consciousness, but also resonates with these beliefs. Several ancient theories propose the existence of parallel worlds and astral planes, both of which are attainable by the mind and within the domain of contemporary physics. According to the idea of the multiverse, it is feasible that when we are dreaming, we are connected to other versions of ourselves, or perhaps entire realities. This is something that is plausible. Dreams are thought to be more than just recaps of our day or metaphors for our feelings, according to a number of different spiritual traditions. They are gateways to other dimensions, and the only way to enter them is for our mind to transcend the confines of the physical body. The existence of this phenomenon lends credence to the idea that awareness, when it is not constrained by the confines of the material world, is capable of functioning in a more broader reality in which time and space become notions that may be manipulated. There is a fascinating connection between the multiverse hypothesis and dreams. This is due to the fact that by examining the nature of dreams, we may be able to open ourselves up to the possibility that it is not the brain that produces these worlds, but rather our consciousness interacting with other versions of reality. As a result, every dream might be interpreted as an experience that takes place in a parallel version of yourself, a version that may have never existed in the waking world, but nevertheless provides important insights and even guidance for the present. When it comes to dream memories, the human mind appears to be shrouded in mystery, despite the fact that it is capable of storing and processing information throughout the daytime hours. When we wake up, many of us are immediately confronted with the sensation that our dreams have vanished as if they had never been there in the first place. Because of this, we are left wondering why it is that the majority of the dreams that we have while we are asleep are so difficult to recall. The functioning of the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain responsible for the generation and preservation of memories, is the explanation that is proposed the most frequently. The hippocampus does not operate in the same manner as it does when we are awake, particularly when we are in a resting state of sleep, REM sleep. It appears that this process makes it more difficult for dreams to be incorporated into conscious memory, which ultimately results in forgetfulness. However, what exactly does this imply about the state of our consciousness? Despite the fact that there are numerous hypotheses concerning this topic in the realm of spirituality, the majority of people believe that forgetfulness works as a form of defense, keeping our mind from being overpowered by the intense and frequently uncomfortable experiences that we encounter when we are sleeping. On the other hand, if we take into account the possibility that our recollections of dreams play a more significant part, we can wonder whether this forgetting is genuinely necessary or whether there is anything else going on in the process of our perception. Because of all of this, we are led to believe that sleep may in fact act as a gateway through which our consciousness might be expanded. This would enable us while we are resting to investigate things that are beyond our conscious comprehension. It's possible that this kind of examination of the unconscious is one of the purest means of expanding one's consciousness. It prompts us to engage in introspection regarding the nature of reality perception and even our place in the vastness of the cosmos. As a result, sleep is a potent instrument for the development of self-awareness and evolution. It is a period of time during which our consciousness is liberated to move beyond the boundaries that are imposed by alertness. I am grateful that you have chosen to begin this adventure with me. I would appreciate it if you would give this video a like, subscribe to our channel if it struck a chord with you. If you want other people to benefit from this message, you should share this video with them. In addition, don't forget to share your views, reflections, and experiences by leaving a comment below. Once again, I appreciate you watching and coming to be with me. Have a good day.